What was the greatest pain I've ever felt? Was it looking back on the time I turned down a handsome billionaire for an unemployed 28-year-old with a ponytail and a guitar out of love? Was it the cold in my bones after spending a week in the foothills in Alberta in -20 with only what I could carry in a backpack? Was it the first time somebody called me the N-word in grade school? Oh no, this is something much worse than all of those things. Anybody who's watching who is an eldest daughter of a single parent and or immigrant family, maybe you know where I'm going with this. Back again, it's Adele. You know, two of those scenarios that I mentioned at the beginning of this video are part of stories in my ebooks. One's an ebook, one's an audiobook. One's about the worst experiences I've had with race, and the other is about the worst experiences I've had since moving to Mexico. If you're interested, both of those will be linked in the description below. It has been a crazy past 30 days. We've moved 3 times. There's something about moving that feels so human to me. It's like going into a place and being like, yes, these are things I need to be alive and to service my human body to keep me going. It's a very, I don't know, there's something about it that's like a little bit humbling and feels a little bit embarrassing to me. And then there's the aspect of like gathering up all of your worldly things and being like, these are the things that I like, these are the things that I need, and they need to come with me. And then like looking at them and being like, it's too much, you know. I prefer minimalism. I don't like buying junk and unnecessary things, but you know, I've been in Mexico for 3 years now. And through these past couple of moves, I'm like, how did I get this much stuff, you know? So Maurice, my street cat, and I have moved into a place that I am the happiest I've ever been with a place in Mexico so far. I feel, you know, kind of like a Grecian goddess living here. It's just like very beautiful. It's also the most expensive place I've lived here in Mexico. It's a whole $425 a month. Now, as some of you know, I did get divorced almost 3 years ago. And we didn't, first of all, we didn't get married because like we believe in the sanctity of marriage and being together forever. And it was like a really important value to us. Like we didn't have a wedding. We thought, oh, we'll have, you know, just for the fun of it, we'll have a ceremony one day when we're like more settled and stuff like that. Something, you know, intimate with friends in nature or something. But we just did it, you know, because we wanted to be together and governments required it. We were only married for a year, but divorce was one of the worst things I went through. And I guess I didn't realize what it meant to my inner child. There was a sense where I was like, oh my God, I'm part of a family now, right? I grew up in a single parent home. We had abuse, poverty, just everything was very fractured. And, you know, ever since I was young, I just wanted a place I could call home, you know, a safe place to come back to, a place where I fit in, a place where I could put my things down and feel okay with it. You know, I feel like I've been under the gun and on the run my whole life, you know, and especially now getting into my 40s, I just kind of want to settle down. You know, I'm not out here to travel around and see new things, you know, and it's kind of difficult when you're in a new country. And the divorce is still not the worst thing that I went through. It was the fallout of what happens after divorce when you're a certain age, right? Maybe if you're still in your 20s, you're still like working in an office, you're still going to college or something else, or you have a support system, which I don't. I never have. My support systems have been intermittent, groups of people, sometimes people at work, sometimes neighbors, occasionally friends. But, I've been moving around so much. I had a lot of trauma. I had to work a lot. So these people who have all these childhood, lifelong friends, I mean, not only that, but I have some friends from childhood, but I was in such a bad place during that time, and we know the kind of people we attract in those times, right? Most people know it's kind of difficult to hold on to friendships after a certain age, right? When people are not seeing each other every day in school or work, work from home. When people have their own spouses, their children, they have their own job. I realized that in marriage, I was kind of like, there were a lot of expectations that I kind of felt coming to the fore. And one of them was, now I don't have to ask strangers for help. I will always have help with things, right? And moving was a big one of them. And guys, I had to move 3 times in the past month, trying to find the right fit, trying to escape from the Jumanji jungle cabin from hell. I've had just a crazy month. And I often wondered, why does God keep wanting to take this away from me, right? I just want a family. I just want a home. I just wanted one man and one best friend. And that's it. How much is that to ask? I brought it on myself, really. I guess I chose to learn lessons the hard way in this life. I knew, I've never so clearly heard, don't do this, from, I don't know, my spirit, angels, God, I don't know, than, before I got married. And I actively told this voice that was coming up inside me, I'm like, no, you just want me to constantly be alone for my entire life. Yeah, you think it's cute and funny, but I'm tired. And this is what I want. It's not perfect, but it's what I want, and I'm doing it, so be quiet. And look what happened. The most important thing is to learn from everything we do in life. And everything, it's a gift and a blessing, because we get to learn from it for some reason, right? And hopefully our lives get better and we earn more respect for ourselves. We learn to listen to ourselves more as time goes on. And I had this experience, that marriage brought out this experience in me where I was just done. I just went to God, in nature, and I was just done. And I just collapsed, and I said, why don't I ever get the good thing? Here's this man, he has a family, and he has work, and he has a place he can always live, and they have this beautiful farm, and they have all these things, and and I almost had a husband, I almost had a family. No, I don't get it. How come I don't get the good thing? And that was one spiritual moment I'll always remember in my life, because I immediately got the answer back in nature, and it took my breath away. And the answer I got was, you are the good thing. It was as simple as that. Why are you out here looking and complaining you don't get the good thing? Where's the good thing? You are the good thing. Now, this could mean a number of different things. It could mean that, the things that I'm wanting out here are actually a projection from inside my consciousness into this AI reality that we're calling life on Earth. I also learned that I had really kind of expected to kind of fade into the distance behind a man, right? I kind of wanted to be a support player, kind of traditionally. But that's not who God raised me to be. Ever since I was a kid, I was a conqueror, I was an adventurer, I was a creative, I spoke up, I stood out. That's how I've been my whole life. That's not who God made me to be, even if I don't like it. When I attract a man and he's attracted to me for that, and then we get into a relationship and suddenly I'm like, oh, I'm in the background, and he's like, hey, I don't know how to handle this, and I'm like, you're not being a man. It's just it just doesn't work, you know what I mean? So I'm taking a lot of time away being single, which is very difficult for me. I'm a Libra. I got a million planets in Libra. I got a Libra Venus. I just love and being in love. But I'm not a casual kind of chick, people fall hard for me and vice versa. So it's just best for me to stay out of all of this until I kind of sort myself out, and accepting that that may be never, and I'm okay with that. Out of all of this, you know, I learned how to ask for help, which is the worst pain I've ever experienced. Oh, to humble myself and ask for help. But you know what I really love about Mexico is like a lot of things that are, okay, hold on. It is true that a lot of things that seem really difficult in Canada are super easy and no problem here in Mexico. And also vice versa. Things that are like super easy in Canada are like this huge, gigantic, annoying, and frustrating hassle here in Mexico. But moving is one of them. You know, when I have to move, I'm like, oh my God, like, you know, I need help. I need to call my friends, whatever. But the truth is I didn't have that much stuff. A friend just was like, yeah, just call this guy. Like, I don't know why you're like, I need help. Like, just calm down, you know? And so I texted this guy, this old man with a truck. It's a nice new truck, you know, it's got a taxi phone number on the side. He shows up, pulls the truck up. We load my stuff in, which wasn't all that much at all. We drive down the street. We're driving to my new place. He stops at a light and he's like gesturing to this guy. This teenager comes and jumps in the car. This is common, by the way, in taking taxis here. Like, yeah, taxis that are already going somewhere with people in it will stop to get you in as well. But anyway, it turned out it was his nephew. So yeah, and then the three of us went to my new place, brought everything in less than 5 minutes, and I paid him $7. And he was very happy with that. And that was it. And even to get my place, you know, I had friends show up for me. They signed some papers here, but I went and looked at it one day. I was like, this is the place and the neighborhood and location of my dreams. The next day, I went and took a bunch of money out from the bank, came here, we signed the papers, and I got the keys, and that was it. There was no like phone calls and lawyers and gosh, you know, I'm looking at what's going on in Calgary, and just the rental process is a nightmare. And, you know, here in Mexico, it's quite easy. And I'm doing things that I love and developing my personality more and doing a lot of shadow work. I'd love to invite you to join a class I'm going to be doing for October, my favorite month, my power month. It is an exploration of the shadow side. It is an exploration of darkness and light in our lives, as looked at through the lens of Carl Jung and one of my favorites, classic Gothic horror stories, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. You know, I absolutely love romantic literature. Now, this could also be seen as an introduction to Carl Jung, personal development, as well as an introduction to romantic literature. Now, romantic refers to the time period, okay? It's not like romantic comedy. No, it doesn't have anything to do with that. And I love romantic literature, and it tends to follow certain themes. Okay, I'm going to put them right here. So if these are themes, archetypes that are of interest to you in your life, and you might like an introduction to romantic literature, which is thrilling. You know, nobody writes like they did back then, you know. They really captured like suspense, human emotion, relationships, the nuances in relationships, you know, environment and theme. Like I love this stuff. So if you'd love to share this with me, explore some personal development topics, some discussions with like-minded women in a group, we're going to have lots of time to share. We're going to encourage continuing ongoing connection, to meet some new friends with like minds around the world. So this will be a great opportunity for you. The first class starts the second week of October, and I've got the link in the description below. As you can see, I am making more videos now. I want to pick up some sponsorships before Christmas. I want to hit my 100,000 subscribers eventually one day. And I do feel that there is something in this work for me, in helping and reaching people all around the world. And I just want to thank you for joining me on this journey. And I appreciate you greatly. See you again soon, and bye for now.